Think we've had a squirrel in there. It's full of peanuts or those peach pits. They almost look like peach pits that he's cracked open. Oh man. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Is somebody feeding him peach pits or those pecan? I don't know what those are. Definitely had a mouse or a squirrel or something in here. That's for sure. Got a wasp nest in there. Let me get these wires organized here. Alright, that's quite the pile. That's quite the pile of nuts or peach pits or whatever they are. A couple little pieces I probably don't want to lose. Not sure what that is. But most of this looks like he's been chewing on my capacitors. And even behind peach pits, or nutshells, whatever they are. So, wanted to get this apart so I could figure out what capacitors I was going to need. Didn't realize it was going to be this much of a mess. So, gotten into a pillow or something. That's all in here. It's got it stuffed in the tuning coils. Oh, I don't know. I don't know about this one. The problem with some of these old radios is they just sit out in a shed and they break and they just sit out in a shed. And if someone's intending to fix them, they never get fixed. So that one's got a winding pulled off that he must have chewed through. All the capacitors are chewed. There's a wasp nest here. Wrapped around that wire. Break it off maybe. Yep. Let me get that out. Those are those mud dabber wasps that build little mud nests. They've got shells coming out. And there are, I don't know if you can see up in there, but there's another wasp nest up in there. There's one built into this coil. There's a big one here. Bust that one off. You can see. See that? There's another one down in here. It's going to be some fun cleaning. I was hoping just to pop this open. See some capacitor values that I could start ordering capacitors. But I think I'm going to be in for a lot more work this weekend than I thought. This is going to make it a challenge for sure. All that cloth wiring's coming apart or been chewed on by a mouse. This is going to take some work, but it's not that bad, I guess. It's already partly cleaned up. Just gonna, oh man, that coil right there is all chewed up by whatever was in here, the mouse or whatever. That one, I don't know. We'll see how it goes here. Another big wasp nest back there. Peanuts up. Those nutshells out the wazoo here. That explains why the knobs weren't working very well. Oh, the mechanism was full of shells. Everything's kind of toasty. Everything's a little on the toasty side. Transformer, you can tell there used to be a paper cover over it. It's all been chewed away by whatever was chewing on this thing. These big old tuning capacitors have seen better days. Which is why the tuner doesn't work very well. Get that all cleaned out. Oh no. Mouse was chewing on the radio dial up here. That's not good at all. So I'm going to have to pull all these coils out and clean them up. Figure out where some of these windings that are chewed off of them go. How many windings they were. I might have to rewind them. This is going to be a big job. Okay, I've been working on this thing, on this old radio. I think it's just an AM radio. Worked on it quite a bit today. I've pulled some stuff loose and cut a few things, but I was taking notes as I went. I have about 8 pages of notes, so I know how everything's supposed to go back together. The one couple mysteries is this capacitor here that the mouse is chewed on, and then this coil that I pulled out here, mouse also chewed on. Hoping that these 3 coils are all the same, and so I can measure these and copy it. They look kind of the same, so that's what my hope is. I can reproduce that coil from these 2, and hopefully I can figure out what the heck that capacitor is. This big capacitor here is missing its label, so I don't know what value it is either. And then these resistors are like super old, and so they're mostly just painted one color. I've found something on the web about the body color versus an end cap versus a dot, and that works like the color code from today. But these don't seem to have an end cap painted a different color or a dot, so I still got to figure that out. But the next big thing is figuring out how this main transformer is wired, and to do that I got to pull all these wires off of the bottom of it and pull it out of here so I can start looking at it. And the mouse had actually chewed through one of the primary wires, so that's down in here. I'm not sure you guys can see that, but there's a loose wire that the mouse chewed through. So that's the next step, is start desoldering some of this stuff. See if I can get any heat on this. Yep, got that little guy out. A little bit more is coming out. I can move this a little bit, get down here and get the rest of this guy out. So I didn't take anything loose until I knew exactly where it was going, and and I pretty much laid out my whole circuit diagram. So there's only a couple mysteries left, and that's mostly due to damage from the mouse. And not being able to find any information about this particular radio on the old internet. So we'll see. I didn't like a lot of this wire, but you know, it's not seeming like it's, once I started messing around with it, there's only some spots that the mouse chewed, and the rest of it's not so bad. I still might replace it. It's a little expensive to replace it, but you know, I'd love to be able to afford some nice Teflon wire like we used to use in the military stuff that I used to build, and get some wax thread. And this was all threaded with wax thread, so you know, all the wires were bundled together with wax thread, and it was tied up really nice and neatly, kind of how they did it in the old days on the military stuff. So yeah, I did a little of that when I was working on that stuff, so I kind of remember how to do it. Somewhere I think I might have a manual on it up in my attic. And come on, baby. One more. This resistor to ground. And now I should be able to pull that transformer out. Maybe. Those are a little crusty. And there's that capacitor the mouse chewed up, or it exploded, or some of both. The mystery capacitor, as I've been calling it in my schematics, because I'm not really sure what the value of it is, and there's not going to be any way to measure it. So I'm going to have to take a guess on it, probably. I was hoping I could maybe look at some other radio schematics of the era and see if I could come up with a value for it. But it's been a little difficult to find those schematics and find one that's even close to this radio. So boy, that one's a little rusty in there. She's not gonna come, Captain. She's not gonna come, Captain. But I have a plan. These have a nut on the inside holding this big monster cap on that I also don't know the value to. I might be able to twist that nut. And get her started. Let's see. That helped it all. Alright. It's a little crusty, that's for sure. Because the mouse has chewed a lot of this paper off of this transformer, I may have to. I don't know what I'm going to do. We're gonna poke around a little bit with my own meter and see what we can come up with. Oh, hey. Half the label still on there on that capacitor. I know it's 500 volts DC, but I don't know the value. The value has been chewed off there. But I'm going to take a quick picture of that. High capacity. I can get my camera going here. Alright. Put this off to one side. Lost the rivet there. And let's see if I can start figuring this out. Now, the hot was going here and here, which was kind of odd because it looks like it's a center tap on the primary. 25 ohms is 50 ohms, 2.8 ohms, 22 ohms. Well, this one was not hooked up. And I don't... It must just add another few windings if you're running it on a different voltage or something. Because it wasn't hooked up, so these two are the primaries.